Well, good. At least you can hear the music. This is from the second Ori. So usually do like romantic kind of paintings, but I figured, I kind of want to, and just a nice embrace kind of a thing. Is it too loud? It's probably because I have iTunes turned up all the way. How is that? Is that better? Cool. Yeah, I don't usually have iTunes turned up, but for some reason this iTunes seems kind of quiet. I'm not sure why, but whatever. And I don't know if I turn my... Does that make it louder for you? Did that just get louder? Okay, cool. It's like 3 different volumes. There's the iTunes volume, there's the volume control in OBS, and then there's the system volume. Like, I don't know what affects what. So... Anyway, these are my 2 characters from the fantasy world that I'm slowly building. Spoiler alert, love interests. Though the way I would really paint this scene, I'm not going to, because it would be a total spoiler, and I'm not going to do that. I see. That's handy. And what's funny is I don't mind if she ends up looking kind of like my girlfriend, because, I mean, she's kind of supposed to, but I don't want this guy to look like me. So I'm definitely going to have to, I'll have to finesse his features at some point. But I actually want to... I'm only going to do a loose sketch. I'm not going to sit here and like do a super tight drawing on this. I actually want it to be more about painting than about drawing. So it'll be a little different process from what I usually do on streams. I've done it a few times for work, and I feel like I've gotten good results from it, so I figured, why not? I mean, the difference with work stuff is then I have reference to go from. So, there is that. I don't have reference, but it's digital, so I can just kind of keep, painting and until I get to what I want, such as the fact that he's not looking down quite enough. I want him to be kind of more like that. And of course, my easy way to be like, no, it's not me, is I'll just give him like a way better hairline than what I have. More hair and a cooler hairline. We'll see. I'll have to kind of play around with. Because like I've painted his character before, but I've never quite been like really happy with the designs that I ended up with before. So I'm kind of, he's still pretty up in the air. We are working on actually just kind of like a quiet, sweet kind of a scene. I don't usually do these, at least not in my personal stuff, I'm usually going either like kind of sassy or just very narrative or something like that. This is actually just an embrace, these two characters. I'm kind of thinking ahead to where I want to go with this in terms of the painting. Like I want to get to a very painterly kind of a place with it. So, with just kind of some nice, and no, it's not like a vest, so he's not, I swear he's not me with like a button-up shirt and a waistcoat. He's not wearing a waistcoat, it's more like a tunic kind of a deal. Your next tattoo, I've not finished the Sea Elves yet. What I'm probably gonna do is, there is one more step in the process that I do want to attack on stream. I should probably move this over a little more, so it's not like sitting way off to the left for you guys. And that is, I want to get their tattoos on, so I will do that, but some of the other finishing touches, I don't think it will be the most interesting stuff to watch on a stream, so I'm not going to worry about that. But I would really like to try and get a little bit of streaming in on Saturday. We were going to go for an outing on Saturday, but now it's going to rain, so the outdoor outing, not so much. So with this, because I do want to go painterly, I'm not really gonna worry about like a super fleshed out drawing. At some point, I might try. I might add some details if I feel like they would help, but. Also, this guy's a little, like, bigger, like, more built than me, I think. Because, he's a fighter. He's a knight and shit, so... Even though knights, actually, traditionally, were not that big. If you look at those old suits of armor, and like, dude, those guys were little. No wonder, like, they were terrified of the Vikings, who were, like, twice their size. But those old suits of armor, like, those guys were pretty slim, and but probably just fucking badass fighters. Yeah, so your next tattoo, I've not decided stylistically what kind of tattoos I want to do on them, which is why I'm not tackling it tonight. It's like you can get away in certain instances with doing the kind of swirls and whirls, which I'm doing in a lot of their motifs, but as soon as you get into tattoos with that, they just start to look like tribal tattoos, and it's not 1994 anymore. No one cares about tribal tattoos unless you're actually from some kind of a tribe where they have meaning. So yours is a little different though. And you know what? You got them. You got your tattoo at the right time. So it's okay. It works. Don't worry. Yeah, well, I'm a little hesitant to base it too hard on another culture where the tattoos are like pretty sacred for them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want... You can get into some trouble there sometimes. I might take some ideas from that. So I've been kicking around some ideas. Even going so far as to use some shapes that might seem a little more modern, except that when you go to that basic geometry, like obviously that dates back to who the hell knows when. So I think I could get away with it without it feeling like overly modern, I think. But I need to give it a little more thought, and then I will get into the tattooing, because I think that'll be a lot of fun. I like playing with that stuff, and I'm also debating like if I want them to have some kind of color, or if I want it to be monochromatic, but we'll see. Let's see where this arm would be. His other arm could either be under that hand or on top. Either way. Alright. If that arm wraps around, I think I would rather it be on top, because I'd like to paint that hand a bit. Something you don't hear a lot of people say. Like, I'm gonna make that hand a little more visible because I really want to paint that hand. And she also here, she's wearing something much more feminine than she does in most of the story. And then she's got to have something to do with her other arm, and he's like got her in a tight lover's embrace, so I kind of want her playing with her hair a little bit. I don't like it when some of this stuff gets too dark. I probably should have done this with a color, but whatever. Yeah, that could be cool. Hey, no, that's all good, man. Yeah, I feel like I'm just going to have to kind of do a bit of research. for tattoos, because I know what my natural tendency would be, but I'm like, okay, well, I use those shapes in a lot of things, and so I feel like it might be a good opportunity to kind of branch out and do something different from what I would normally do. So I do like, I love the Maori tattoos. I think they're awesome. I'd gone to New Zealand back in 2005 and spent like a month in Auckland. I was working out there, which is why I was in Auckland for a month. It would not have been my first choice, at least not to spend the entire time. But I was working on season 13 of Power Rangers, and that's where it was being done. So, thus I was there. Woo, giant eraser. You know what, Jay-Z? I've never been to Jersey Mike's. Ever. They do like meatball sandwiches and stuff, right? Or is it basically just another sub sandwich place? Okay, so normally she has this headband, but I feel like at this point the headband maybe doesn't make a whole lot of sense. This is a bit later in the story, but I still want her to have her other, she has a cloth headband and then these kind of metal, although realistically the cloth headband kind of like keeps these metal discs from chafing the hell out of her skin, so maybe we can make it a different one. How about that? It doesn't have to be the same one. And maybe it's not as long, although I do like the long shit. Alright, whatever, we'll run with it. And Mr. John Zilstra, how are you, brother? How are you doing? I said I wasn't going to get too detailed on this. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to keep it like a bit loose, but I do want like some things. And I got to remember, like, this is a nice moment, so she probably shouldn't be like, I want her looking at camera, so to speak, at the viewer. But I think, obviously, she can't have her normal, like, determined look, so we'll have to, like, ease up on her expression. Otherwise she's gonna be like, ugh, when is this guy gonna fucking let me go? He's so clingy. It's not me, I swear. I'll have to really figure out that hand, because that's going to be a more intricate kind of gesture, right? If she is like twirling her hair, kind of. Let's do. Switching my brush over to the. It's just the normal like round brush. It's a little easier sometimes to get those little details, and it's just about the gesture of the. Thumb showing in there. I'll have to kind of. Alright. That's why. Why isn't that gesture right? Just gotta have a bit more strength in that. Thanks for the sub, Jay-Z. Oh, thanks for gifting the sub, Archer Kell. The computer's great, dude. I wish I could have gotten one of the RTX like 3080s for it. I'm running the 2070 Super right now. But it's great, and it handles, so far it's handling anything I'm throwing at it. I'm not going too crazy. Like, I'm not recording as I'm streaming right now. I probably could, but I started out that way, and I noticed it was a little clunky. But I was also, the canvas was fucking huge, so go figure. There were a few things going on there. It wasn't entirely the graphics card's fault, but all right. Girlfriend's watching the 49ers and Packers game. I was watching it, but then it was stream time, so, and 49ers, like, half their starting lineup, I swear, is out with COVID. So, yeah, whatever. Against a pretty badass Packers team, so what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm a Niners fan, but I'm from Northern California, so I have an excuse. I grew up, I was a Montana and young kid, so, can you blame me? But the shitty thing is I live down in Los Angeles, so I don't get to watch their games, so I'm also a Rams fan. And realistically, I'm digging watching when the Seahawks play. I love watching the Chiefs as well, and Mahomes is super entertaining, as is Wilson. And honestly, I love Aaron Rodgers. So the thing is that it had been so long since I had watched football, and I kind of just got back into it like a few years ago. And so I don't have like a ton of loyalty. Obviously, if the Niners are playing the Packers, I want the Niners to win, but I do like the Packers, which is saying a lot, because Steve Young and Brett Favre were like arch nemesis. Sorry, I just blasted through Buffy again, so that was a Buffy reference. Fucking Warren. That asshole. Alright. I'm honestly probably doing more drawing than I actually need to on this. She's wearing this like silky thin something or other, and the only thing I've never quite, I don't remember if I was giving her a necklace or not. Yeah, I know, that stadium, man. my girlfriend and I really wanted to catch a game this year, and then of course in 2020 it's like, oh wait, you want to do what? No, it's cool, don't worry about it, I got this. Fucking 2020. All right, let's paint, but first I want these to be some kind of a color. Not quite. I rarely go like totally red with my lines. I tend to kick it a little toward orange. Red sometimes just gets a little too cool for certain things. I just feel like if I go a little bit orange, it's just a little more universal. So I think we'll do that, and we'll kick the opacity down, and then I'm pretty much just gonna start throwing in some color. I think I'm actually gonna stick with the round brush for a bit. I want it to be my 80 flow. I actually want it to be a little soft, so yeah, Jay-Z, I mean, when we're working on, like, you know, files that are 12,000 pixels tall and, you know, anywhere from 300, usually about 300 DPI, and we're getting into literally hundreds of layers, those GPUs come in handy, let me tell you. Let's throw some color. All right, so what I haven't thought about yet is if I want, what kind of lighting I want. If I want it to be really light or darker. I kind of want a little darker, but and so, you know, then when I have a 2000 pixel brush and I don't want it to like lag on me. So this is literally like I'm approaching this in a very different way than I ever do, but it's something I've been wanting to venture into, and that is doing a lot softer stuff. Now I have this drawing, which is kind of still cheating. It's not cheating, but it's not really what I had in mind. I had every intention of just starting in Paint, but then I was like, you know what though? With this, the gesture gets very specific, and I just think in line in that regard. So, so that's where we're going with it. And I just want to throw some colors down. I might even, something I've not done in a long ass time, wet edges. I don't know, I just want a different look, a little bit of a different look than what I normally do, and I just kind of want to see where it takes me. So you guys are along for the ride, because I really don't know. Lighting is something I want to consider pretty quickly. In terms of lighting direction. And I think upper left, but like not too far left, but more kind of left of center. So I'm thinking like lighting coming from there. Kind of a deal. And you know what? We're gonna kick this down even more. Because I actually don't want to rely on the lines, and I don't want them to distract me. Obviously, I have no issues with seeing them still a bit, because, you know, gotta know where to drop my values. But basically what I want is I want a softer painting where I then get to kind of choose where I want the crisp details to be. And I remember seeing some people like in school that would paint that way in oils or acrylic or whatever, and it was just kind of their natural way of painting. And I always thought it looked so cool, but it was never my thing. I was always like, drawing, figure it out, and then get it done, and then soften edges afterward. And yet, when I work in, Prismacolor, I actually do a bit of this. Obviously, I'm still working with pencils, so there's still drawing involved. But yeah, but remember, like, I think his head is only partly, like, it would cast a shadow here, but there's still a part of her head that is still in front of his. And there will be a lot of back and forth on this, but I think it'll be fun. He's got dark hair. It's tricky though when you use yourself as reference all the time for like, oh, this expression or whatever. Like, what do facial features do at this angle or that angle? And then like that kind of gets ingrained, and before you know it, that's where like everyone starts looking like you know. But I'm gonna try hard not to make him look like me. And then the hard part too is obviously like I'm so used to, on my own time at least, just drawing like cute girls all the time, that then it's like, okay, how do you draw an attractive man? Like, what does that mean? Because sometimes, girls will be like, oh my god, this guy, he's so hot. And I look at him, I'm like, dude, he's kind of weird looking. Like, I don't understand it. And then there are the ones that are just really pretty, and like, of course you get it, but you're like, well, yeah, of course you think he's hot. Like, everyone thinks I kind of think he's hot. There's a subtle line in the drawing. There we go. That was like reading as a bit of a frown line, and I didn't want that. The music is Ori. This music is from the second Ori game, which I have not played yet, but I was like, wait a second. I bet that soundtrack is out, and I love the soundtrack for the first one. Listen the hell out of that. So I looked, and it was out. I was like, yes. So this is actually my first time actually listening to it. I don't know what color I want her dress to be. She has pretty fair skin, and initially I was going to have a white dress just because with the light hitting it, I think it would look pretty rad. But I don't know if I want the fair skin and the white dress, but it might be kind of fun to play with those tones. Well, digital, we can always mess with the color if we decide we don't like the white. John, have you played the second Ori game yet? And if so, how do you like it? Oscillating between water and a tea punch. A tea punch. But so the other thing with this guy is he's not like a 20-something. He's a bit. I think she might be in her 20s. He's actually going to be a bit older than her, which will be an interesting thing to write, because that's not really my MO. I tend to like girls my own age. So we'll have to play with kind of aging him up a bit in areas. And maybe a bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, because real men have 5 o'clock shadows. Honestly, I haven't even played the first one. I own the first one, but I never played it because I just didn't have time to game. Like, by the time I actually got it, I didn't have the time. The other thing with this is I do want to get into some like kind of more impressionist colors. And if she does have, I don't know why, I feel like my cat's fur has been drifting around all day, and she has this really like silky fine fur, so it just like drifts around sometimes, and gets kind of annoying, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, so many people were like, you gotta play Last of Us, you gotta play Last of Us, one of the best games ever, just, you know, for the storytelling. Basically that kind of Naughty Dog sort of trait of you know, feeling like you're playing through a film, basically. And I really wanted to, because, you know, I love the zombie genre and shit, right? Isn't it zombies in there? But I just never got around to it. I loved Uncharted. Uncharted 2 and 3 were the ones I had played. What was that? All right, let's get some. We need colors. We need variations and whatnot. Whatnot. Need color variations and the skin. She has very fair skin. We're gonna get some cools in there that we'll then paint on top of. I don't know when I'll even play Last of Us. He has darker skin, so we're gonna get in some other like tan kind of Middle Eastern tones, sort of, in his skin. I'm looking at this and it totally has this, like, I don't know if any of you follow Shakuri, but she actually, like, she paints. I love how impressionistic she gets with her colors, and it's something I used to do a lot more in oils, and so I've been trying to kind of bring some of that back with my digital. Blue, his tunic deal is blue. Wait, Autumn, why did you time out Nightbot? Was Nightbot being a dick? Half the time Nightbot doesn't even work, so I wasn't paying attention if although Nightbot seems to work better now that I'm on the PC, but was Nightbot even posting anything? No, Nightbot hasn't even posted anything. Nightbot's a slacker. Okay, her hair. I'm gonna start with, even though her hair is like more of a natural kind of like red. I like to start often with like a cooler red, and then work my way up to what the actual warms are in red hair. You just really felt the need to time someone out. That's cool. Nightbot's a good choice. He does have a white shirt. ultimately it will be off-white, I'm sure, but so right now what I'm doing is I am essentially just throwing down some colors, and then I will ultimately start to color pick from the canvas when I get into like the real painty stuff. That's a technical term, by the way. Oh yeah. I hear ya. That's cool. Let's see, what color do we want her headband? I had gone with this teal headband originally, but now anytime someone sees a redhead with a teal colored anything, they're like, Horizon Zero Dawn? Hey, is that Horizon Zero Dawn? Hey, bro. Bro, is that? Oh my god, I love HCD. Like, that's cool. I don't. I've never played it, but I'm not gonna play it. I'm bitter. I'm bitter and enraged. I will not play that game. It's people's only association with redheads, and it annoys me. There's something else I was gonna. Oh yeah. So before I went off on that tangent, so instead of teal, I decided to change her headband to more of a green to match her eyes. So we're gonna run with it. Then the jewelry is not gold. Gotta remember, she's not like some rich girl. More like bronze. I have to say, this is kind of a fun way just to set up a palette. I gotta say, overlay. Just want to like kind of push some values and play with contrast a little bit and throw in some other colors in different ways. Although, you know what? No, we're gonna keep it. I don't feel like using tricks today. At least not yet. So we're gonna stick with this. I want again, I don't actually know how dark I want like the surroundings to be. I may not want it to be too dark. You know, it all kind of depends on how romantic I want it to be. Are we still on? Cool. We're still on the wet edges. Jessica Chastain. And who's the girl that played, I think she played Alice in Alice in Wonderland? I think she's naturally a redhead. I think that was her. Uh-oh. Who's raiding? Corinne DeSin. Thank you for the raid. What's up? How's it going? Welcome. And how is your stream? I would give people a rundown of what I do, but I don't actually have all that stuff set up on this new computer yet, so oh well. I'm doing well. What did you work on? What did you do on your stream? What do you do on your stream? Tell us, and please feel free to link anything if you want. Your socials, your whatever you are working on, if it's handy. Ah, lame. Full disclosure, I am not an Adobe Illustrator fan. But that's probably because I don't even know how to use it. But that's because I'm not a fan. Catch 22. I am working on actually a rather kind of sweet scene of these are two characters from a world that I'm slowly building. I don't usually do like very kind of sweet things. When I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just do a kind of nice romantic embrace with a little bit of a, you know, fashion-y vibe, because she is gonna be looking right at camera. But you know, just wanting to push out of my usual stuff a little bit. Thank you. I was, you know, it's a combination of sort of playing with stuff I kind of used to do in school when I was doing a lot of oil painting, in terms of like I would just throw colors down and then slowly build it up and see what happened. But also like taking some inspiration from Chuck Curry's playbook. And I love how she plays with color. And I was like, you know what? I used to do a lot of that. I should do more of that. So, you know, that's what I'm doing. So starting out soft, and then I want to slowly kind of start to build up, you know, colors and all that stuff. Well, thanks for trying, Ziggy in Korea. I appreciate it. Yeah, she's so good. She's so good. I absolutely love her color every time. I'm just like, love. So, you know, Could do worse than taking some inspiration from her. She's so good with color. And like, I get there, but what I tend to be a lot better at in terms of color is just going for like more like realism. Because that was sort of always my focus. Not always. I think I used to get pretty impressionistic, and even these days I'll get impressionistic, but I kind of usually go via realism to get to the impressionistic color. So this time I'm like, you know what? Let's just start a bit impressionistic and see where that takes us. Getting crazy. Thus, you know, a little bit of liquid courage to help with that. I was telling Shakuri today about rum agricole and tea punches, and ever since then I had a hankering for a tea punch, and I was like, no, I'll wait. I'm gonna wait for tonight, and then if I still want one, I'll make one. So I made one. It's getting in some of the accents here. I might. Yeah, 30. I feel like I'm probably gonna want some kind of bounce light at some point, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I should do more emotes. I haven't gotten around to it. They're fun. Sometimes a nice way to kind of unwind. Some of this stuff I know I can kind of just push around and play with once I actually get deeper into the painting, but whatever. Whatevs. She has very fair skin, which is always interesting when you want to go impressionistic, because fair skin just catches all the colors and all the light. Dude, you gotta have those GPUs to push those emotes, man. That would be awesome. Alright, I think we're gonna start painting on top here pretty quick. Meaning on top of the lines and stuff, and then maybe. Because like, it's all soft now, but I'm gonna be bringing in like my very like oil painty kind of brushes and stuff. So we're gonna get into some of that stuff. It's a lot of fun to play with edges with those like square brushes, you know. One thing we always need in skin tones is some greens. I think I got an 850 watt power supply. Right? Autumn, I think you got a 1,000 watt or something, right? But I'm pretty sure mine's 850. I might do... Shit, what do I want? I'm trying to decide on her dress. Like, it's not going to be stark white. It's going to be really light. And I'm just trying to decide if I want her skin to appear cooler or warmer against it. I kind of want the cooler skin, so we're going to go a little warmer with her dress, I think. All right, let's... And then I feel like he has like a linen shirt on, which wouldn't be stark white because, you know, bleach. This is like not quite medieval, maybe a mix of some medieval and early Renaissance kind of technology, possibly. So I know they had ways of essentially bleaching, but I am liking the colors. They're so pretty. All right, Corinne, thank you so much. Thanks for bringing the raid. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Quick. All right, we're gonna start doing some painty paint. I'm just debating if I want. Can it handle this? I don't know. I don't know if it can. We're gonna get some saturation in her hair. Okay. It's handling it okay, kind of. Probably be easier if I zoomed in. So this is the mixer brush, and I have it on sample all layers right now. We can zoom in here. Why is it so... weird? 51 mix. I feel like I might want that mix a little higher. Oh, I didn't put sample all layers on. I don't know. Usually this brush is one I bring in a bit later and mostly just use it to kind of push colors around. So I think we'll go ahead and get back to my normal brushes where I have a little more control over the opacity and stuff. Sorry, I'm just I'm thinking too many things at once that I'm trying to consider. 70. Too many things, all the things. I always set my flat brushes. I always set the angle to the pen tilt because then I can control the essentially the rotation, right, of that brush head, just basically just by turning my wrist, right, which changes the direction that the pen is coming in from. So it allows me to treat it a lot more like I would an actual brush, because the art pen works like shit on the Cintiq Pros. It's all buggy and weird, so we don't get access to rotation. It took me a second, John, because whispering is a thing on Twitch, so I was like, wait, what? One thing I want. There we go. See that. Hey, Auntie Monica, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Just want to see what my color dynamics are at 2%. Let's do. Try that. I want her hair to be, even though it'll probably be technically kind of an unnatural color. Hello, brush. I want it to have some pop her hair to pop. So the reason I like that set to pen tilt is for the kind of calligraphic marks that we can get, right? The fact that I can drag it around, you know, and get those kinds of things. Very useful. Very useful. But I'm not gonna get into like those crazy details just yet. Little by little. Right? Always nice to kind of pick and choose where you want the details. And, I mean, obviously with this kind of stuff, we can always, if we kind of put too much detail somewhere, we can always, like, you know, paint back in and scale it back. And I don't think I want, so don't want all the shadows to be super dark, right? I'm gonna want some air in them there shadows. So let's like, I don't want to go too cool in the shadows, but I don't mind going a little, me and my magenta. What can I say? It's a great color. She has like Cholula colored hair. Well, we'll get into some actual colors in that hair too. Go a little warmer. Too much. I'm a Tapatio fan myself. Although I did pick up some of the Cholula Chipotle sauce, and that stuff's good. That shit good. What was that? I don't know what that sound was that my computer made or why it made it. There are these alerts like that'll chime, but then I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me, computer, so I'm just gonna ignore you. Use your words. Use your big girl words. That's what I tell my cat when she's just meowing at me for who knows what. I tell her to use her big girl words, and she just meows at me some more. Yeah, except that it makes the same sound and nothing pops up. Like there's nothing that tells me what the hell it's, you know, and then I look in like the little alert center and I'm like, well, there's nothing new. Unless it's trying to tell me to do that, whatever the hell the Edge update is, and that I'm just ignoring. No, I have malware bites. Ain't no malware on my machine. Let's get into some of this stuff. This will be fun. I have a shirt on. I'm not naked. And I have jeans on. I always wear jeans. What can I say? I'm a denim fan. I gotta say, I am having a lot of fun just kind of playing with these colors. I can dig it. Can you dig it? Okay. And so at this point, I'm just like, there's kind of no point in the layers, except that if I ever want to show the process, maybe I should keep the layers. So let's just copy them all onto one layer. And the reason being is I want to adjust her features a little bit in the uber cheaty way. Right. Liquify. Just trying to decide. It's subtle. I don't want to go crazy with it, but it's hard when I have something, an image in my head of what the character looks like, you know. Sometimes it's like trying to capture that character multiple times in different images, you know. And then, of course, like maybe it evolves a little bit too, and, you know, things change, and Yeah. That's looking a little better. A little better. Cool. Cool. Yeah, it could be. Damn USB shit. Um, and I will definitely like get into the eyes at some point, but not yet. But I love painting me some eyes, so that is gonna happen. Also, it sometimes bothers me when like these characters that are in more of like the medieval type of era, and like in her case, you know, she comes from a village, when they have these like perfectly sculpted eyebrows, just because we're so used to doing that, right? When we use reference and stuff, every piece of reference we have, they have these like perfect eyebrows because that's what people do now. And that's fine for a modern character, but I always think about it when I'm drawing like someone who's not modern day. They did like have ways of maintaining eyebrows and stuff, but I don't think they like quite got into it like we do now. So no, I mean, there, you know, in a lot of those old cultures, they actually did a lot of self maintenance. Um, I just don't know how much eyebrows came into play with that. I'm literally saying like I don't know. I could be wrong, and maybe they got like super into plucking their eyebrows and maintaining them. Who's to say? Don't like what just happened there. We'll leave the nose. I want to get into some actual skin tones here. A little bit. Like I want a mix of, you know, a healthy mix of stuff. Because, you know, at some point, even within the skin tones, you know, we'll definitely get into some like, you know, some like SimCon with the colors. Autumn knows what I'm talking about. Now back to the good part. I'm proud to say I have not watched that today. Though just for shits and giggles, we might have to watch it. Um, I am kind of playing a little more with like the way that Sargent would just keep all these like really soft edges in the eyes, right? Sorry, I don't have all those cool little things set up. Maybe I will though. But I don't know. You enjoy doing that stuff more than I do. And I appreciate it. I like that you enjoy it. For those that don't know, SimCon is simultaneous contrast. All the cool kids, abbreviate. Trying to decide, like, really what shape I want her nose to be. Oh. I'm not entirely sure. The brush is more condensed. Actually, that's fine. Oh. I actually want some color variation on this. Color dynamics. Yeah. Brightness, that's fine. Do 5. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, damn it. Wait. Oh, no, that's fine. Okay. Sorry. Technicalities. Look at that. That looks so green next to the red, and yet it's like just way desatted orange. But this is where I like, when I see that, I'm like, no, I actually want some actual other colors. I don't want everything to just be oranges and stuff like that. So that's where I'll start to bring in some actual like colors for the variation. actually don't. I'm not going to want it to read as lipstick, so, but in order to do that, I'll have to get some more kind of warm colors into her skin. Even though, I mean, she could have lipstick on, but I don't actually want it to be that, I don't think. Getting back to this stuff, the kind of bronze or brass. I should decide whether it's bronze or brass. Brass is a lot cooler, so I'm gonna go with brass. Cooler as in temperature, not like it's cool and bronze is not. I'm not saying bronze is lame, just that. And I never pass up the opportunity to kind of bleed different forms into each other a little bit. It's just separated with some tasty calligraphy. Like, I will almost always bleed those highlights over. Almost every time. Even on things that are just very different colors. I just love the way that it unifies the shapes. I can't help it. Yeah, I'm digging this one. I think I still like the first one a little more. I think, but it's hard because I've listened to the first one so many times that this is all just kind of new. So, but I'm digging it. Got to be careful though. So I wanted to do that here, kind of bleeding them together with highlights, but I think the angles are too different. It wouldn't really work. So can't do it everywhere. I also need to. Oh my god, I love those tracks. It just like hits such an epic tone when she's on there. I didn't check to see if she's on any of the tracks on this one. It could be weird if they didn't have her back. I actually want her to have a little bit more lidded eyes. So subtle. Everything's so subtle. And just so that it doesn't look like she totally dyes her hair, because most redheads don't have dark eyebrows if they're natural redheads. Always good to remember that eyebrows have form. They're not just flat. And if you're gonna do it, you should do the form correctly. Right? Because typically eyebrows from the inside, you have hair that goes like so, and then as you get to the outside, you have hair that comes down from here. And so typically you'll catch shadow the eyebrow there. Typically, because of the actual bony ridge, right? So, yeah. It's you get in those different directions in the hair that cause it to catch light in different ways. So that's what I'm trying to get. But I don't know how much light she would really be catching there. This is where I'm also trying to decide how strong I want these cast shadows to be, and I'm not sure. I still need to decide on her little nose shape. Kind of wanted her to have a little bit of a rounder nose. So and this is where I know I won't be able to help myself. I'm going to have to kind of draw in some of these forms because, again, that's just kind of how I think. And then I'll soften them up again. do get very particular on mouth shapes. Always changes things once you get the pupil in the eye. Like, for one, all of a sudden she's not looking at us. Eye lines. But I had a feeling that was going to happen. It's like, no, her eyes looked a little too centered to actually be looking at us, since her face is not directly pointed at us, right? So, that's fine. Just a little bit of back and forthing. Nothing crazy. I think that'll be better. We think. I may not go as dark with the pupils. I can always darken them later. Stop it. That was my fault. Sometimes I'll hit the color picker, but then I won't actually go to pick a color, and so then it brings up these like options, hotkey options in Photoshop, and then it gets mad when I do something else. My fault, my fault. I actually really like listening to soundtracks like before I play a game. It's not like a go-to thing, but I've noticed that I always tend to enjoy it because like, yeah, then if it's a good soundtrack, obviously, then I'm always curious like, oh, how does this fit in and how does this fit in? Like I listened the hell out of the first Red Dead soundtrack long before the game ever came out because they released it like way early. I think they released the soundtrack for that game like at least a month before the game came out. And so I was already like super familiar with it by the time that game was released. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. She does her brass headband thing does have these little stones in the center, but I'm gonna wait because that's like a little tiny detail that I don't think I need to worry about just yet. Hello. Sorry, am I fucking... You gonna... No? What the hell? Keyboard. Hello, keyboard. Wake up. My keyboard now. That would be nice. Hello. Dude, I don't understand. Sorry, technical difficulties. Keyboard is being a bitch. Hang on. Keys. The hell? Weird. Why does it say it's at... Okay. Now are we gonna work? Yay! Keyboard! Welcome back, keyboard. Gonna get into those eyes a little bit here. Not that though. Yeah, maybe. Maybe we will get into that one. Oh, look at that. That looks so green right there. And it's not. It's basically gray. Throwing me for a loop here. Jay-Z, thanks for hanging out, dude. Always a pleasure. Better not have heard the last of Jay-Z. Have a good one, man. Enjoy your night. Alright, back to... Let's try you. So now we're on the blender brush here. Mixer brush or whatever it's called. And I love this brush for like starting to push edges around and whatnot. It's pretty rad. And I have mine like pretty subtle on the color, so it doesn't, even whatever color it's set on, it doesn't like drop it in too hard. Because I do tend to use it largely for kind of finessing edges and then subtly shifting colors and getting into some impressionistic shenanigans. I gotta work out this eye area too, because that ain't happening. Let's grab actually cool. I don't know yet like how detailed I want this piece to be overall. Like I think I should be careful not to get too crazy with the detail too quick. Because there's a chance I might end up just obliterating half of the detail. Save your static, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Because one of the things I'm not entirely sure about is like I may want to unify these shadows a little bit more, maybe, possibly. For now, I at least want to get some color and maybe some texture in them. My linen brush is great for texture. Love this thing. People have probably seen me use it in Procreate a bit, but it originated in Photoshop, where I scanned in one of my nice linen panels and just used that as a texture for it. Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people use other apps too to great effect. But the reality is, like, if it's something, if someone's considering work, Photoshop is the most universal, you know? Um, and it is very useful to know, but it just kind of depends on the purpose, I guess, of the digital art. Because, most of the others they can still save out as a PSD, but if it's something where eventually someone wants to go work in a studio, well, they're going to be using Photoshop. So, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Photoshop. I love Photoshop. I hate Adobe. I think Adobe is a bunch of tools. Sorry if anyone from Adobe is watching. I doubt you are. But just like terrible, I don't want to say terrible customer service per se, but I just feel like they don't pay attention to what the users actually want, and they just kind of do whatever they want and trust that the users will get used to it. It's annoying. Yeah, and then they change stuff and they don't tell you. Like on Creative Cloud, all of a sudden, automatically, like they added the option where when you install a new version of Photoshop, it will completely erase your previous version, including the presets. That was a newer option that was added, and it's automatically checked. So then I was just like, what the hell? Because I had installed a new version of Photoshop on my Mac, and then all of a sudden, 2018 and 2019 were gone. All my presets were gone. All my custom hotkeys, all that. I was like, are you... Like, it erased them. It's like, what the fuck? Luckily, I had all that stuff on my work machine, so I was able to export that, but like, yeah, not cool. If you're gonna add that, well, so when you say install, then a window pops up, and on that window there's like two checkboxes, and one is to erase the previous version, and then one is, I think, to overwrite the presets or something like that. So it gives you the chance, but I wasn't paying attention because I'd never had to do that before. So I was just like, yeah, next. And whoops. Yeah, I was pissed. I don't tend to use the cloud. And from my work machine, I wouldn't be able to. It's all like high security, locked down. So I wouldn't have, I can't do that shit from my work machine. So I tend to like my machines to work pretty similar, so that I'm used to it. Some more color. Right now, we'll get into that later. I was gonna say the color is subtle. Right now, and that's fine, I guess. I think you can save workspaces to the cloud, but so traditionally what it did, like back in the day, it might overwrite the previous version, but it would always save your presets, you know? And that's kind of, so I just was not expecting them to change that. And it was really annoying. I mean, it ultimately, I guess it didn't matter terribly because I was switching from a Mac to a PC anyway. Except that I did want to see, like, hey, is there a way to, you know, swap these things over? And there is, you know, I was able to export stuff from my work Mac and import it onto the PC. So I didn't have to redo all my hotkeys from scratch because that would have been annoying. Alright, I feel like I'm still not happy with her nose shape, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. Decisions. It's tricky when you start wanting to get specific with stuff and then you don't really have reference, because you don't, like, while she is kind of based on my girlfriend, she's only kind of. I'm not trying to do a portrait, you know, of her. So I still want this character is Fiona, and I still want her to be her own character. You know, I don't want her to look exactly like Tiny Girlfriend, though she does kind of basically just look like a younger version. Don't tell her I said that. You still look young, girlfriend. Don't worry. But this character looks younger than my girlfriend does. Of course, she is younger, so it's okay. There we go. Get some form shadows going. Nose. Get some color. We need color. Find those cheeks. And then I need I mean, a lot of it's just, I mean, I don't want to say just practice because it's a shit ton of practice, but at the end of the day, you know, that's what it is. It's mostly kind of a matter of how much you want to practice. And I mean, okay, I'm not going to say that, oh, hey, anyone, if you just practice enough, you can do it, because obviously this stuff's not easy, and I have seen people struggle and just never really get anywhere with art. So I know that there is still a certain amount of kind of innate understanding, I think, that has to be there, but, you know, not everyone knows whether they have it or not until they actually try. So, yeah. And if it's something that you're really interested in, sometimes it's worth just, putting a little bit of time in and seeing where it goes. You might surprise yourself. I mean, I've been drawing since I was old enough to pick up anything I could use for drawing. So, it's a little different. I just never stopped. I like when it gets to the point where they start to, look like someone. Like they could be a person. Oh, left shoulder not happy. I should probably work on him a bit before I go too far with her. Getting all caught up in the pretty girl. Let's bring him up to snuff. Yes, it is important to, be paying the bills. Very important. Alright, he's gonna be a little bit of a challenge, I think, but only because I have less of an idea of what he actually looks like. So it's going to involve a bit of painting around and trying not to just make him look like me. Because if I go on autopilot, obviously, like, I'm the male whose face I see every day. So, that becomes a default to a degree, and I don't want that for him. Of course, then I also was like, oh, and he's like got this kind of, sort of a Middle Eastern vibe, and I'm like, I'm half Indian. And then, so, I can go that way pretty quick. It's not a stretch. Even though India is not the Middle East. A lot of similarities and features. And then when you mix that with the Caucasian, which is my other half, shadows. But, you know, once I get some paint down on this, like a little more paint, then I can really play with pushing and pulling features around. Let's get some color too. I mean, there's already a lot of color in there, but I'm thinking more some of his, what might be his actual skin tone. Again, like I want it to be pretty impressionistic, so I don't want to go like this is his skin color, because ultimately I'm going to end up with quite a bit of different colors on it. But you know, get some of that in there, start to unify some of this stuff. And in school back in the day, when I was doing a lot of oil painting, I used to get just pretty crazy with the colors, because it was, you know, it was one of those things where I knew that as long as my values were there, I mean, the color didn't really matter. You know, I could do anything I wanted with the color, and it wouldn't look wrong as long as the values were correct. And so that's kind of what I'm playing with here. That same idea where I'm not I'm like, I'm fine throwing in some different colors, knowing that I can make them work eventually. Gotta say, I'm digging this soundtrack quite a bit. And when I did a lot of oil painting, portraits were like my jam. That's what I loved doing. So, not much has changed. Except that I'm doing like fictional portraits. Figure out a different angle for the keyboard and my shoulder. do want like cool. Ooh, get a little bit of reflected light from her hair. Bouncing all up in there. He's looking a little younger than I want, so I'm gonna have to age him up a little bit, but all in good time. All in good time. Let me get his hair going. Hours. Not too bad for 2.5 hours of work, especially considering I didn't really know what I was going for. Although sometimes that goes quicker because there's almost like no right or wrong, you know, versus if you have something really specific in mind. And then, yeah, you have to keep, like, erasing and redoing because you're like, no, that's not it, that's not it, that's not it. Don't want him to have, like, perfectly groomed hair, I don't think. So I'll have to kind of play with that. It's just a smudge tool, using it to like soften some of the edges here and there. Also, as usual, if anyone has any questions along the way at any time, always feel free to chime in. Doesn't have to be art related. Could be anything. Anything you want. Still tripping out that that's not green. And it's desaturated, like hot pinkish red. I love that stuff though, because it like gives me a different understanding of color, which I can always kind of take with me when I get into any kind of traditional stuff. Though at a certain point I do want it to be, I do want some green in there, but it can be desadded. I don't know that I'll... I don't know. It would be actually kind of fun to attempt this as like an oil painting at some point. Because stylistically, it's a little different than what I would normally arrive at with oils. I think. Kind of. It still sort of has my oily vibe, I guess. You know, I said I should work on him, but then I saw stuff that I wanted to do on her. I couldn't help it. I can't help it. I'm a slave to it. Also, for anyone wondering, I'm working on a 32-inch Cintiq Pro, so that's why I'm not really zooming in, because this is already like pretty big. So, you know, I don't really need to zoom in unless I'm getting into like little tiny details, which I am not yet. This is a good example or a good time to look at where I want to turn the cheek right here, right? And it's just this bit here. But I don't want it to read as being a harsh shape. I don't want it to be any kind of a wrinkle or anything like that. And so that's where I can play with having it be the same value or very, very close, and just change the temperature, right? To turn that form. I think I might want to... Yeah. And so that's one way to turn form without necessarily adding what would be a lot of detail, right? Because especially if we're dealing with a younger face, we don't want a lot of really harsh shapes, you know? So we end up doing a lot of that stuff where we just kind of will do a temperature shift instead of a full-on value shift. The value shift can often read as being pretty harsh. And I'd mentioned simultaneous contrast earlier, and that's essentially what I'm doing. You know, if like there's a little bit of value shift there, but if we desat it, like there's not a lot in this area. It's pretty subtle. Most of the heavy lifting and the in the plane shift is being done with temperature. So I want some first. Whoops. Just realized I hadn't saved this entire time. I should do that. Saving is a good thing. There were times at work that would happen, and I'd be so afraid to like touch anything and be like, don't touch anything. Just save it and leave it alone. What was that? I don't know what that was. See, she's got that cool headband thing, and he like doesn't. He's all boring looking. He needs more stuff. I think I originally gave him like a thin something or other. Let's see. Do I have... I don't know why I created these weird ghost doubles of... Yeah, I do have him. But it's like a... I only have one version of him? Shit. No, I did not. And this is an older version too. That's not even a finished one. Okay, well. You're not helpful. Hello! Lennis, how are you doing? We're working on a... We were working on... What the hell just happened? Okay. Keyboard's connected. What's going on? Okay. Are we working? There we go. Weird. I don't know what happened there. Doing well. Doing well. We're just working on you know, a kind of nice, soft, kind of romantic sort of a scene, which I don't normally do. So I thought it would be a nice change of pace. And now I'm just trying to figure out what to do to not make him look so damn boring in comparison. And I think I will give him the... He did have... At one point, I think, I'd given him... Except that it's so like Aragorn to have that like thin sort of leather band, but that's okay. We'll run with it and see what happens. I can also make his clothing more interesting if I decide I don't want to do the band thing. Because, I mean, obviously his clothing is not finished. Whoa, what happened there? What happened there? You. That is one thing I'll do at a certain point is chisel out edges. It's always fun. Kind of go back and forth with them. Clothing, more interesting. So, Carpe Diem, what are you working on tonight? I think you said you were going to be doing some artwork as well. So, you know, I won't distract you too much if you're trying to draw. Because obviously to answer questions you have to type, stop drawing. That can get annoying, I know. And thank you. It's fun. It's, you know, a little different. Switching up my process a little bit too, just to kind of, you know, keep things interesting. Yeah. That'll do it. That's why I actually, for a little bit, I stopped watching streams. I felt bad because I wanted to, you know, obviously support the streamers, and I really like the streamers, but I was like getting a little too into just like watching all these streams, and it was getting very distracting. I was like, no, dude, I have shit I gotta get done, and it's not gonna get done unless I focus and do it. Nice. I like that. Flowers are fun. Of course, you know, having worked in Hollywood for years, my idea of a flowery queen might be a little different than yours, but I kid. Sort of. Not really. Nice. Arthur Kell is a fan of that. He likes him some metal. I'm not as much of a metal fan. Yeah, you should definitely post. I'd love to see what you're working on. Wait, did you mean the metal music, or did you mean... Oh, you're rendering metal. Sorry, my mind went to music. I think. Is that what you mean? You're rendering metal again? Or are you listening to metal music again? Ah. No, it's okay, Arthur Kell. My mind went to the same place. I was like, oh damn, you going hardcore, huh? Breaking out that heavy metal. Rendering metal. That I love doing. Though I don't render the hell out of it, as you can see with her brass headband thing. I tend to imply. But yeah, you should definitely post on the Discord. I'd love to see where you're at, and if you want feedback, you can post it in the feedback section. If you don't want feedback and you just want to show it off, you can do that too. Sometimes I feel like it's good to get into some of the other stuff before you finish the faces, because, you know, the faces are always what we love painting. Although I enjoy all the drapery and skin and stuff too, so I don't mind. The nice thing with kind of finishing out the face is that I can kind of get a clear idea of, okay, this is how far I want to take everything, and nothing else will go as far as the face, you know? Yeah, I remember. So that's where I'm curious to know, you know, where you've gone with it now. And hopefully the advice was useful. I make no promises. And then with this guy, I'm also kind of like, all right, well, how typically like handsome do I want to make him, you know? Right now he's looking kind of blah. He's looking a bit like romance novel stereotype kind of. So I'm gonna have to start to figure out where I might want to differentiate his features a bit more and potentially make his features maybe a little more severe in areas. You know, it's not like he's had a super easy life, so even though, you know, he is a knight, he's probably had, in a way, an easier life than she has, but he's also older and... Well, no, I don't know that he's had an easier life than her, actually. He's been through some shit. She hasn't been through a ton of shit yet. So I feel like he might need some kind of scar or something. Maybe a couple small scars, or who knows. Might have to crook it up his nose a little bit. Maybe he had it broken at some point. Or I should say maybe it got broken at some point, not like he had it broken. Also, pretty sure they didn't have perfect shirt seams until like the sewing machine was invented, or you know, or you paid a shit ton of money for a shirt that was perfectly hand done. So we'll have to mess with that stuff a little bit as well. Nothing wrong with that. All kind of nitty-gritty details that don't matter too much, but sometimes it's nice to just put some placeholders in there just to keep the reminder, you know. Almost at 3 hours. Keep wanting to go back to her. I'm like, no, you gotta take him a bit further. Whatever. I can do what I want. This is looking a little muddy. Not a fan. You don't want muddy. Usually a good solution to that is just to you know, give it a little more robust color. sometimes it's just due to the transparency and complementary colors, you know, trying to mix, and so they gray out and all that good stuff. So I'm just trying to think of sort of what his hair is actually doing. I feel like maybe it's a little too, almost a little too modern. Like, maybe it could be I'm so hesitant to make it longer. It'll really start to look romance novel-y. I don't want to go there. Let's see here. Get that 5 o'clock shadow going. I know in the past I've always kind of drawn him with actual facial hair, but that was where I was like, all right, I just want to push him away from looking like me. So, like, okay, no facial hair. is again where kind of want to play with temperature shifts. Mostly in this particular case was to kind of clean up some of the color, right? There was a little too much sort of orange and what was blue but then turned gray as it was laid over the orange. So just trying to clean up. Like, I have no problem with the color variation, I just don't want it to be muddy is all. This is where he can have kind of maybe slightly harsher lines happening because he is. I haven't decided how much older he is, but he is older than she is. So. Feel like I want to move his I want to move his head. I think just no. Never mind. False alarm. I was gonna move it to be able to get a bit more like compression of his cheek against her hair, but it's okay. Whatever. It wouldn't quite work. It would change his posture, so that's more trouble than it's worth. So we ain't gonna do it. I would do it if there was something that was like, that looked wrong. Then I would take the time to change it. But when it's just something where it's like, oh, what if, blah, 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 then nope. Not worth the time. So I feel like I'm gonna have to do something to make his, well, I don't know. It's not like they just got out of a battle. I was gonna say something to make his shirt not so like perfectly clean, but reality is it can be. It's fine. I'm still trying to figure out what I can do to make him look more interesting. got nothing right now. I got nothing. One, I'm not liking the color of that tunic. It's like this awful fucking baby blue, and that's not what I want. It's terrible. Terrible. That's a better blue. But I think one thing I will do while I'm thinking about it is we can give him shoulder belt of some kind. Little by little, he's kind of getting there. You know, it's like I just want him to look more interesting than he does right now. We'll get there. We'll get there. I hope. I think. Not tonight, because, you know, I'm not going to finish this tonight. Gotta go to bed at some point in the fairly near future. So I'll probably call it a night here pretty quick, but I just wanted to get some of this stuff down while I was thinking about it. Oh, okay. I think I'm gonna call it for tonight. There's still a bit to do. I feel like I could probably maybe finish it in another stream. It might take 2 more streams, but I also want to get back to those sea elves on my next stream, and well, hopefully, if I can figure out what to do on their tattoos, we'll get back to them. Otherwise, we'll keep going on this one. But I think I'm going to call this one for tonight, and we will raid. Who's on? Who's on? Is nobody on? That's kind of weird. That's weird. Hang on. Whoop, I don't want to hear myself. Wow, no one's on. That's why there's no one. There is literally nobody to raid. Weird. I feel like I've never seen that before. Oh well, no raiding. That's that. Alright. My friends, thank you so much for hanging out. Watching me struggle through this different process that I've had a lot of fun with, so that's a good thing. And I like where it's going, and I think it'll end up in a cool place. So, yes, Carpe Diem, thank you so much for coming by. And if I have time, I will stream on Saturday. Otherwise, I will be back on Monday, barring any crazy shit from work. Yeah, I will be back on Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, hopefully I can stream Saturday afternoon as well, but I'm not sure. All right, peace out, folks. Y'all have great nights wherever you